guys, I'm Jacia and this is my YouTube channel. It's a beautiful day to be alive. If you're new here, welcome. If you're coming back, thank you. Please make sure you subscribe so you're part of the family here. Today we're switching it up and doing a little bit of a cooking vlog. I'm going to make some chicken fajitas and show you the process of it, and super easy. I literally just throw it all in a crock pot, let it cook for a little bit, and then it's done. Every time I cook this for people, everybody raves about it. Everybody says it's so good, so I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a vlog. So here we go. Okay, the first thing you're gonna need is chicken breast. I get mine from Sam's Club and it comes in like a huge pack of chicken breasts, and then I individually put them in Ziploc baggies, and I put them in 4 chicken breasts in a baggie and then freeze them. The first thing we're gonna do is put the chicken into the crock pot. So now that you have the chicken in, I just use a large fork and I'm going to break the chicken breasts apart and lay them flat in. So I'm going to do that and then we'll check back. Okay, now that I have all the chicken breasts laid flat in the crock pot, I go in with a little bit of chicken broth. I will measure this out because I don't measure it. I honestly just go by feel, but I'll measure out how much I normally put in there so then you guys can know. So I'm going to dump a little bit of the chicken broth in here. I'm thinking I typically do about 2 cups. This is about 2. Yeah, 2 cups is perfect. I put chicken broth in there because when you slow cook chicken, it will start to dry out if you don't have something in there. So I always use chicken broth because it keeps the chicken moist as I'm cooking it. And then my crock pot is a Nesco. It's actually an oven roaster. I turn it on the cook setting, which is between 250 and 300. If you don't have a cook setting, I would set it on 300 and then stir occasionally. Next, I'm going in to put in the seasonings I use. I have minced garlic. I get this from Sam's Club. And I do about 2 full scoops in. So now that I have that done, next I go in with Slap Your Mama. And I like my fajitas extra seasoned. I extra season everything. I go in with some cayenne pepper, depending on how hot you like things. I wouldn't go overkill at first unless you like hot stuff. Me and Aaron both like our food really hot, so I put in a few shakes in there. Next, I'm going in with Lawry salt. You can get this anywhere. If you don't have it, you're missing out. Then I'm going in with onion salt. And now that all my seasonings are in, I'm going to put the lid on and I'm going to cook this for about an hour, and then I'm going to start to shred it if the chicken looks done, and then I'm going to let it roast until the chicken broth basically starts soaking up in the chicken and starts to evaporate. Then you know that the chicken is almost done and ready. So this is on and cooking. I'm going to move to our next step, and that is cutting our peppers up. I get these large packs at Sam's Club. It comes with 2 yellow, 2 red, and 2 orange. I normally have been cooking it with just the 6 peppers, but to me it honestly doesn't seem like enough peppers for 4 large chicken breasts. So I got a second one. I'm not sure if I'm going to use all of them yet, so we'll feel that out. So the first thing I'm going to do is go in and cut these peppers up. So what I do is I get a large bowl. I'm going to put all my chopped peppers in this bowl, and then I fill it up to the top of the peppers with water and let the water soak, and it basically rinses them also. And then I just put it in the fridge until later when I'm ready to add it to the, chicken. So the first thing I do when I cut peppers is I chop the top off. As you see, you get the top like that. And then you have the inside with all the seeds. I basically just go inside and chop around that middle core. and just cut it out. And then the middle insert basically comes out right with it. So then I flip it upside down, to the side again. I chop off the bottom, toss that away. And then I'm gonna cut the pepper right in half. And to me, I really don't notice the difference between taste of peppers. They're supposedly supposed to have a different taste, but I really don't taste the difference. And then I just go in and I basically cut off the little white areas that peppers have. And I cut the peppers super thin, about like this thin, just because you want, when it cooks down, you want it to shrink down so it's not just pepper chicken. So then you go through and cut all your peppers up. I'm gonna start with about 8 peppers. I'm gonna feel it out and I will check back in once I have these all cut up and we'll go from there. I have all of our peppers chopped up and soaking in cold water. You want to make sure the water is covering all the peppers, so it's just soaking up the water. Before I put them in this bowl and soak them in water, I recommend putting them in a strainer and making sure that you rinse them all because they do get muddy sometimes. So make sure you just rinse them all, and then once you have them all rinsed up, I would put them in a bowl with the cold water. One thing I recommend is when you think you have enough peppers, I would always cut one more pepper, just because when you cook them, they shrink so much that it's normally not enough. So I always cut extra because they shrink down so much. So I ended up doing all 12 because I know we wouldn't eat the extra ones, so I didn't want to waste them. So we cooked all 12 of them. And to be honest, 4 chicken breasts of the large ones that we get at Sam's Club is way too much. Aaron normally has food for all week and supper for the night that we cook it. So that's why I cooked so many peppers, because we like peppers, and just because the 4 chicken breasts, once you shred them, that's so much meat that you have meals for all week. So that's what Aaron brings to lunches, and then we have supper too. So if you're cooking for just you and your spouse, I would probably just do 2 large chicken breasts, or even 3 if you want leftovers, but 4 if you want leftovers to bring to work throughout the week, or if you want it for a few suppers. It's a really easy meal. It's so fast to cook, and it's just something easy you can take to work. It's not much meal prep. Like I said, you're just cutting your peppers, throwing your chicken breast in the crock pot with all your spices, and that's pretty much it until the chicken's done. So right now it is about 5 o'clock, so we're gonna check in about an hour and see how the chicken's looking, and then we will go from there. So I'll be back in an hour to check in. Hey guys, checking back in. It's been about an hour, so right now it's 6 o'clock. I'm going to check on this chicken and see if it's done, if it's ready to be shredded, and then I'm gonna let it cook for probably around another hour. It's gonna be a late dinner tonight. I started this a little bit late. I planned for this to cook around 3 hours just so it can soak up that extra flavor. So we're gonna check on it, and if it's ready, I'm gonna shred it and let it cook for probably another hour. So first thing you're gonna wanna do is take the top off. And then you're gonna wanna split the chicken open. And it looks mostly done. Yeah, it looks mostly done. So I'm going to shred this quick, and I'll check back in once it's all shredded up, and we'll go from there. Okay, so it's about a 30-minute check-in. It's currently 6:30, and the chicken's looking pretty much done. The only thing is the chicken broth is starting to get soaked into the chicken, so I'm actually gonna add some more. You kind of just need to feel this out to see how much chicken broth you have. I'm gonna probably add that much more in, just to soak in the chicken. And then I'm gonna add the fajita seasoning. So the Hyvee Fajita seasoning, the best fajita seasoning, hands down. You're gonna add in 2 packets of the fajita seasoning. Okay, now that I have the fajita seasoning in, I'm going to go in and mix it all in. It's gonna turn like a dark brown paste, and that's what you want it to look like. So I'm gonna stir that in. I might have to do 3 packets because it's looking like 2's not gonna be enough. So I'm gonna add actually a 3rd packet in. And then you're gonna want to slowly start adding your peppers into it. Your peppers are gonna wanna cook. So this is, right now it's 6:30. This will be done by 7 o'clock. You just want the peppers to cook for about 30 minutes with your fajita seasoning. So I'm gonna add in all the peppers. And I'm going to grab an extra fajita seasoning quick. Okay, so then you can just open in the extra fajita seasoning and you're just gonna wanna dump this in. Depending on how much the chicken broth soaks in the fajita mix, you might have to add more chicken broth in, but you'll be able to tell once you mix it all in. And I've tried other fajita seasonings and they're either super salty or they just don't have as good of a seasoning to them. I think this Hyvee one's the best I've tried so far. So you're just gonna go in, mix all of it up. These peppers will shrink down in size by a lot, so don't be worried that it looks like it's too much peppers because it's gonna shrink down a ton. Okay, I have about still enough chicken broth in here to soak in the peppers and the chicken and not dry out. And that's what you want, because actually in the back of the seasoning it says to add water, but since I have the chicken broth in there, I never add the water. I just replace the water with chicken broth and it does the same exact thing, but it actually gives it a better chicken flavor than just water. So now that I have that all stirred up, I'm going to recover and cook for another 30 minutes, and then after that it should be done. And we'll do the little prep and see what I put on my fajitas, and then pretty much after that it's done and ready to go. Okie doke, so we're checking in about an hour later. I checked in about 30 minutes and the peppers were still really hard. So I cooked them for another hour and it's done. The peppers shrunk down really small. Chicken's done. The juices are still there. They didn't absorb completely. If you want the juices to absorb completely, you're going to have to turn up the heat. I already turned up the heat when I checked in about 10 minutes after I put in the extra seasoning, and it wasn't cooking very good, so I turned it up to 300 and I've let that cook at 300 for the last hour. But if you want these juices to absorb, I would recommend setting it at 300 and cooking it for like 2 more hours. Obviously starting this earlier and cooking it for a few more hours. But when I dish it up, I just let the extra juices run out and it's fine. I would rather have it a little bit juicier than dry. So this is all done. I will show you the prepping and dishing, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so the first step is to just drain the meat like I said. Then you're going to put it on a soft shell. And I just use the standard flour tortillas that are your street taco size. And then you're going to want to put your cheese on. Some lettuce. And then you can add your black olives and sour cream if you wish. So thanks for watching my chicken fajita recipe. I hope you guys try it. I hope you guys enjoy it. Like I said, it's super easy, super affordable for every kind of family. You'll always have leftovers unless you cook it in a smaller portion, but it's very easy. It reheats so good. I'd recommend, please try it and let me know what you guys think. Until next time, it's a beautiful day to be alive. Thanks, guys.